All right, all eyes on our nation's capital right now, where President Trump prepares to deliver his first address to a joint session of Congress tonight. The president likely to touch on those sweeping tariffs and that response to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. All right, let's start there at the White House with CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Weijia, we saw the markets responding to these tariffs dramatically. In fact, Americans may be concerned about how this is going to impact their 401ks. And a lot of Americans, remember, voted for Trump because he vowed to make it easier to afford things like groceries and really everything else. Any word for the White House on how Trump is going to address that concern tonight?
Well, the White House says that one major focus of his speech tonight will be the broader economy and inflation. But you're right, to have this all unfolding right now, just hours before he's set to deliver that speech, certainly begs the question of how he might rewrite or alter his message, because I think it would be a mistake not to address the elephant in the room when you are having these tumbling stocks, when you are seeing people's retirements and investments really spiral, because that would be not fulfilling his campaign promise that you so rightfully laid out, that he said he would make things economically better for Americans. So the question is how he will present that and frame it. Of course, we know that he has said tariffs are a powerful tool, and he has linked this to the flow of illegal immigrants and illegal drugs, specifically fentanyl, into the borders. But one thing, Liz, that I think is important context is that when it comes to Canada, the amount of fentanyl that comes in from the northern border overall, when you look at all the fentanyl that comes into the U.S. every year, is 0.2%. That's less than 0.5%. And, Canada has taken a lot of steps to try to curb it even more, but Trump has made clear he doesn't think that's enough. So that's why we are now locked in this trade war that looks like it's going to be escalated again, because Trump has said, look, if you retaliate on us, that number on Canadian goods or Mexican goods is just going to go up again.
Yeah, and speaking of Canada, I want to get back to those comments from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Weijia. I want to play part of those remarks and get your take on the other side.
The United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
Weijia, he says the U.S. is, quote, appeasing Putin. This seems to be just the latest attack on the administration after that Oval Office blowout. Fallout from that still playing out today. What's the latest that you're hearing?
Well, we know that the U.S. has now decided to suspend aid to Ukraine. Now, remember, America has been the largest military backer of Ukraine since the start of this war, providing about $180 billion worth of aid overall, including more than $60 billion in military aid. But officials here say they are pausing it because they want to make sure that the money is going toward a solution. But I think Trump would argue that his tactics are working, because we saw an incredibly lengthy statement from President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine earlier today, and he stopped short of saying, I'm sorry, but he did express extreme regret for the way things played out during that Oval Office blowup, and said that he really wants to get things back on course with the United States and with Trump. He also praised the president's leadership and talked about how, he is ready to find a quick end to the war. And so we'll have to see whether Trump hears that message and decides to resume aid, and also decides to put the minerals deal back on the table, which of course he yanked off after he and Zelensky and Vance had that very public confrontation.
And while we have you, Weijia, you've got some news about a major reversal from the Office of Personnel Management. What do you know?
Yeah, well, you'll remember this is essentially the HR department of the government, and it sent out memos several weeks ago essentially mandating sweeping firings of probationary workers. Now, those are workers who have either less than 1 or less than 2 years of experience. And frankly, it's easier to fire them because they have fewer protections than full-fledged civil servants who have been there longer. And you'll remember we told the stories of many federal workers who unexpectedly lost their jobs. But now that HR department, OPM, has issued a new statement to say that basically you don't have to carry out these mass terminations, that it's really up to each agency to go through and decide how they want to structure their staffing. Well, that's all well and good now, but Liz, so many, tens of thousands of federal probationary workers have already lost their jobs. I'm still in touch with several of them who are unemployed and scrambling to find new work because they're competing against each other for jobs in the private sector.
All right, Weijia Jiang reporting live for us from the White House. Weijia, thank you so much.